And we're back for another episode of the most amazing podcast, the most exciting podcast. Obviously, as you guys can see, our main host, superstar host, Ariel, a.k.a. The Mentalist.
The Professor.
The Professor, whatever you want to call him. The Coach of the Year, I think probably one of the best coaches in the Z-League history, is not here today. So I will be your host. I'll do my best. But we got, the good news is, we have Ben Koyenov, rookie captain, 4-1 start.
Green team.
The green team. What? Tell us a bit about yourself. I know you sponsor 2 teams. So tell us about that also.
Good morning, Ami family. My name is Ben Koyenov. I'm on the green team, like everybody said. This is my 4th season with Ami.
How old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
Wow.
I love Ami athletics. You know, I'm home, nothing to do, go to Ami.
That's very young to be a captain. You feel like what has enabled you to kind of gain the respect of your team? I mean, you're 4-1, so obviously you're doing something right.
I drafted my team. I texted the chat. I'm the captain. We're gonna fight together, like as a team. We're gonna talk. Anybody can put their say, and I'm not a captain. We're all captains in my team. Everyone could say, everyone, I don't put the bench. The bench, Gabby, Yosef, they all do what they got to do. And yeah.
That's amazing. So I have a question for you guys today. If you were drafting a team, right, Rabbi, you were captain last year, you're captain this year, 4-1. If you were to draft a team, in your eyes, what is the most important thing that you're looking for? You're looking to build a team that has a lot of talent, or are you looking to build a team that is going to have great chemistry, especially moving forward?
A team that has great chemistry.
Why is that?
And I'll tell you why. If you see, our first game, we versus White. Our first game, we had no chemistry, and we lost the game. We had Gabby, we had Yosef. They didn't know how to play together. They did not know how to play together. It's the first game.
You got a stacked team. You have a stacked team.
We have a good team, thanks to Shlomi
Elishayev. Nice doing business with you.
We did a little robbery in the draft. But yeah, like I said, first game, we did not play as a team. We lost to White, and we needed that loss to be where we are now.
You saying you're more together now?
100%.
What changed?
We were watching the tape as a team.
Wow.
We talked as a team, and we saw that how we played first game is not gonna get us anywhere. And you would say
it's more like together as a team versus before it was more like everybody on their own.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that when you draft a team, the most important thing is chemistry.
Yeah, you need a star. You need a person that could handle the ball, that could shoot the ball. You need pieces around him, but chemistry is. You're not gonna win without chemistry, and that's 100%. I'll even give you an example. Light blue last game, they versus Navy. Whenever they versus Navy blue,
light blue play. Yes.
No offense to that team, they're a great team. But I'm just gonna use them as an example. They had no chemistry that game.
Talking about light blue.
Light blue.
They were up most of the game.
They were up most of the game, but they collapsed. But they collapsed because of lack of chemistry. I was there. A lot of fighting within the players because of they didn't agree on certain things. White. We had that first game versus White, and we fixed it. And I think if they could fix that, they're gonna be a great team also.
What about you, Rabbi?
Definitely, I agree. Everybody talent doesn't hurt. It's just the way you channel it, the way you put it together. It's it definitely you need the captain and the players to be on the same page. You need to have people thinking that everybody has everyone's best interest in mind. They say that the best players, the real talent, upgrades everybody else's talent also. So that's really part of being star players, is uplifting your team. You could be LeBron, but if you don't know how to use your other players around you, you can't carry the whole tank yourself. You can't carry the whole load yourself. But also is using your whole team. Chemistry with your subs. A lot of times, your starters need breaks. You need your 6th and 7th to get involved. You need to fit them into the system also. You need to know what their strengths are, what they're good for, when to bring it in. When I was a captain last year, I know the beginning of the game is awesome to get a lead and to keep your starters in, but then the end of the first half or the beginning of the second half is where you need to bring your subs in and you need to start giving, even though if you don't believe in them, you have to give them a chance to prove themselves and a chance to, like, for example, I always thought I was a starter, but I started off coming off the bench this year. And that was okay. That's fine. That's not a problem. But
yeah, how was that? When I saw that, I was like, wow.
It was a little interesting. It's fine. It's okay because listen, the captain knew that for chemistry, it's going to do better this way because we needed to give certain people their kavod, and that's fine. But then I came off, and then I had chance. They gave me a chance to prove myself. I proved myself. The next game or two, I started, and Aruch Hashem, I had a good game last game. But the point is that you gave everybody a chance. God forbid, it should be that some team just don't play their subs, and just they play 2 minutes or they don't play at all. I heard somebody just earlier say, I'd rather not come. I'd rather not come if just to sit on the bench and watch you guys play. He paid money. Yeah. He's wasting his whole evening watching you guys run around and lose sometimes. It's very deflating sometimes. But what I wanted to get into also, if I may, is in the parasha, we have the longest parasha in the Torah this week. And it's 176 verses.
What's the parsha?
The parsha Naso. And it has 176 pasukim. And the biggest reason why it's so big is because there's all these tribe leaders giving these korbanot, right? The opening of the Mishkan, and they're giving up all these offerings. And each one gave the same one as the other one. And they're all repetitive, that's what takes up a lot of pasukim. But the question is, who's the most special of all of them? There's 12 tribes, and, there's a lot of korbanot. So you would think maybe the first one because he's the first one to give in. You would think it's the second. Maybe it's the last one because he's the last one. But the sages tell us that the second guy, Netanel ben Suar, he's the one who gives the most special korban. Why? So the sages say that when you see somebody else do something, there's innately a desire that I want to outdo him. I want to upstage him. Let's say somebody throws a brit milah, someone throws a bar mitzvah, someone throws a wedding. Everyone's like, it's amazing. Look how nice the decor was. You saw they had this, the guy with the saxophone and the fire and the this and the that. So automatically the next guy, he also wants to feel special. He says, I got to do better. I'm going to do more over the top than him. I'm going to go and make everybody's eyes come out when they come to my party. I'm going to throw crazy money. And then what? And then this leads to eventually our parties could get so unsustainable. The next generation or other people don't have money. They weren't able to do that.
I think we're already there.
Right. So what happens is Netanel ben Suar said, I saw Menachem ben Minadav gave the first korban. He gave like this. I'm also going to give the same. I don't have to give something else to be somebody. People in America especially, everybody on social media has to be standing out. In basketball, people think I have to do a flashy play, I have to cross somebody up and do an over-under layup in order to feel special and feel like a good player. If you could be a role player and do your job, you always get 10 points or you always get 15 points, you always get 15 rebounds, and you're a role player and you help your team win, that's what matters. That's the most important thing. In yeshiva, everyone looks the same with the white shirts and the black suit, whatever. People could say, where's the personality? Just the fact that you're able to be a mensch, do the same schedule for 40 years, that's already a gadol. That's already somebody who fought himself, able to be stable. When your person's looking for all these highs and hypes and all this stuff and to stand out of the box, it's not sustainable. It's not realistic, So that's why your subs will help you to be sustainable, find them their role. Everybody doesn't have to be Gabby Yakubov, crossing people up and shooting a fadeaway to be somebody special in Ami. That's something that's very important.
So I hear both of your points, and I think chemistry is a big deal. But I will say this. Enough of this liberal, I love you, you love me, Barney monkey business. The bottom line is that talent will win you games.
Ooh.
Talent is what you need to win a basketball game. Yes, chemistry will enable the talent to shine. So if you have a flower, or if you have, let's say, a tomato plant, you need to water it. If you water it, the tomatoes will come out. Now, I could have two tomato plants. One gives me tiny tomatoes, and one gives me big tomatoes. They both need the water. One of them, because it is a bigger plant, will give me a bigger tomato. In order for a team to recognize their potential, they need to have chemistry, but it will only take you as far as the talent you have.
Right.
Talent is the most important. When I draft teams, I look at talent. Let's look at the past championship teams. Teal had no tier 4, and no tier 5. Their whole team was 1, 2s, and 3s. If you look at our team last year went to the finals. Had I hit that free throw, I think we would have won, but that's a different conversation. You know, when I drafted Gabby and Tom, the overall question was, how are these guys going to fit? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, bro, I don't care. I have 2 unguardable players. I'll figure that out. Did we mesh? Did we have amazing chemistry throughout the year? I think we had good chemistry. I don't think we reached.
We did not reach to.
You know this,
Yes,
and I think people will say this in the finals and the playoffs. We could have played better, but at the end of the day, we were 1 free throw away from winning it all. Because at the end of the day, when you have 2 unguardable players and you have a cast and you have a good 6-man, you will win games. If you look at Green, they had Daniel Yusupov, Nate Raff, 2 tier 1 players on the same team. They had Johnny Remy. They had Avi Edgarov. They had a talented, stacked team. They had a great coach.
They had a well-rounded team.
But also a very talented team. They had 2 tier 1s, and they won it all. When you look at a team like White had a lot of chemistry, and it kind of put them on a pedestal. But let's look at the players. You had Eli Yakubov, tier 1, top tier 2. Jay Shao, tier 1, top tier 2. Mishpatov was a tier 1. You're going to win games that way. And I think chemistry is big, but like we have to be real over here. You know what I'm saying? You have to draft talent. You have to be a talented team. And listen, I think chemistry is big. I think it's very important. But again, like I said, if you want to reach the top, if you want to get to a place where you're going to separate yourself from the pack, and I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, but I talk about chemistry. Yes, this season I talk about chemistry because I see the talent is all pretty much the same. I don't see
very spread.
I don't see talent-wise a big gap. So then comes the next thing, which is chemistry. But again, the next thing is chemistry. So I when I draft teams, I look at talent. I look at talent alone, and then I just figure out, okay, guys, put your differences aside, and let's just start playing together.
But you can't let that talent get to the person's head. You know, there's guys who say I have talent. They walk in and they're just chucking every shot. You know, they're taking every shot and they're not knowing how to play with other players. Like you said, that's where chemistry steps in. But even talent, how do you gauge talent, really? You know, a guy who knows how to, cross people up and shoot doesn't mean he knows shot selection. You can have guys who are taking 50 shots a game. Yeah, they're scoring maybe 20 points. Maybe they're scoring, flashy plays. Doesn't mean that their field goal percentage is good. Does that mean that their team is going to be where they're supposed to be because you have a guy who's hogging or like doesn't realize he's hogging?
Yeah, I love that how we have the shots taken.
Yes,
attempt. Shot attempt. So now we know
the field goal percentage. Yeah.
And then I see some of these stars now taking a few less shots. Now we know what's going on.
They don't get called out.
You know what I'm saying?
But even last season, there were games we played without our tier 1 Gabby, and we still won. And I feel like that chemistry played a big part in that.
I agree. Listen, guys, chemistry is huge. Chemistry is important. Chemistry will enable you to win games. But it will only take you as far as the talent you have. That is what I'm saying. So I think, listen.
A big piece of it also is, look, the Green had a coach. You understand? He had a person who was like from the outside and was meshing everybody together and calling him out, Yes. At the end of the day, your talent needs to be, put in a proper perspective.
So do you think that every team needs to have a coach?
That's a very good question.
How do we do that? Should we make a rule that if you're a tier 7, you're going to be the coach?
I don't know about that.
Maybe you'll play 10 minutes a game, but we need a coach.
I think it's if some teams are going to have a coach, I think every team should have a coach. I think if not all the teams are going to have a coach, then nobody.
Yeah, but look at the teams that have a coach. So you have light blue, they hired a coach. Fine. I don't think a lot of teams
that's also pretty debatable.
Whatever, we'll leave that at that.
But also they're saying that the coach does really nothing compared. Like they don't need him.
So why they hire him? So why they hire him?
No, who said that? They said that, or people are saying that.
Maybe it's the fans. Maybe it's
that.
the fans. Maybe it's the fans.
The team is saying that.
I think they need a coach. The funny thing is they only played 3 games.
Look, my team,
and one of them was a 4-on-4. But
we had no real chance to see who they are.
Exactly. But just look at the teams. Okay, so you have Yuda Nisanov. They won the finals. He was tier 7. He's the coach. You have Ari Nisanov, tier 7. He's the coach. You have Navy Blue, Gabi Lishaev, tier 7. He's the coach. Now, I said this when we beat them. I said, hey, you know what? They lost because they were missing their coach. They did not play well at the end of the game. And he told me, he's like, listen, I watched the tape. I don't know what was going on over here. I said, listen, you were needed there. I think coach will enable chemistry to kind of, the problem is whenever you have a guy playing, especially a guy who's a starter. So if he doesn't sit himself out, the team kind of gets upset. Like, yo, Why am I sitting and
Why
not you? And
better
they say,
than
oh,
us?
he's a captain because he gets to do whatever he wants. I mean, that's not how it works, but it could be that way, and it kind of has a problem with chemistry.
If a captain's like that, then they shouldn't be a captain.
Well, I mean, naturally, if a captain's a tier 1, a tier 2, 3,
I mean,
4, they're going to start, right? And they're going to
100%.
play. And they're going to have to make the decision, hey, you are not playing in the game, even though you're good. There are a lot of tier 6s right now who are good enough to start. And there are a lot of tier 5s who should be starting, but based on matchups, the coach is going to start at tier 6. So it's going to create a rift, and
Right.
the tier 5, 6 is going to have this negative energy of, hey, the coach is just doing this because he likes that guy better because he's playing. So when you have that misunderstanding and when you have that that negative energy, it can kind of translate to the rest of the team, and guys kind of, subbing is annoying. And back to the bench talk, I think bench needs to play. I'm noticing games that bench. I myself, one game I didn't play my bench. As much as he should have played. I apologized. But bench needs to play, and I'm looking at the tier 6s this year, tier 7s. They upgraded. They're all good. Majority of them can play, can even start. You put on a jersey, you gotta break a sweat. That's my opinion.
But they're gonna tell you, yeah, but I'm gonna put him in. He's gonna mess up. I'm gonna go down, and the score is gonna get lopsided.
I'd rather lose the game and be able to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that is the most important thing, and I think captains, not just captains, players have to understand this. If you have a player who put on his shorts, put on his jersey, his wife might be watching at home on the live.
He paid money.
And he's coming out to the game. I don't care if he's leaving it to just get away from his wife and kids, or he can't stand being at home, or he needs a distraction. The bottom line is he's here, right? And he's got to break a sweat. Unless he decides, hey, I want to coach. That's fine. You do whatever you want. But if the guy wants to play, he needs to play. That's the bottom line.
Right.
Listen, it's not in the playoffs. It's one thing if you're in the playoffs, okay, it's a big deal. This is a regular season game. Like, it's not the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? If you can't fit a guy in 5 minutes in each half, you're going to have to learn to scheme better, I guess.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's why it's a very good thing to get a coach also, because the coach could play the bench, knows when to put the bench, when to take out the bench.
Yeah, how hard is it when you're playing to realize, hey, this guy didn't get minutes.
Yes.
He's on the bench. When did I set
Half
him
your
out
mind
last?
has
You don't understand.
You can't play.
Last week or 2 weeks ago, we were versus Navy Blue. I've been playing my bench, but that game, we were so into it. I played Johnny for 2 minutes.
Wow.
And, I didn't even play my.
You didn't
my
realize.
7. I didn't even realize, yeah. And that's something that me as a captain first year I gotta work on.
Right.
And that's
Hopefully everybody else will work on it also.
uh,
We'll see more subs coming in.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, it's nice seeing you as captain coming from the orange team.
learned a lot from you, Zachy. Don't worry.
I definitely will take a lot of credit.
I
don't know if
definitely
I should, but I will.
I definitely prospered in orange. That was my.
Yeah, Ben had a big role. I saw we played red the year before. He had like 20 points. And he was a 3-point shooter. I'm like, yo, this kid can shoot. And for some odd reason, last year you were scared to shoot. I don't know why. You have a good shot. You got to keep shooting.
I'm hitting a couple threes this season.
The first 3 you take usually doesn't go in, and then you kind of realize, hey, it was too strong, too short, and then you kind of start hitting. That's why a lot of these talented guys they rely on volume to find their shot. Right. It's so hard for a tier 4, 5, 6 to get in a rhythm where your first shot, okay, you're in game speed, so it's a little different than shoot around, and you realize, hey, I'm a little short, so you need another one. And then it goes a little bit far. Then you kind of realize, okay, this is my sweet spot.
Right.
On the third 3, most 4, 5, and 6, their team doesn't even trust them to take.
Right.
You know what it is? When I was on red, we only won 1 game, and I feel like there was no chemistry, and anyone could shoot the ball. But when we were on orange, I actually had a role.
Right.
Offense wasn't my game; it was defense.
Yeah.
Right.
We had Gabby in town for the offense. We had you in the offense, so I didn't really need to play offense. I just needed to be there on defense.
Right.
We had your own Matthew. We had an offensive team.
Yeah, I think also that's very key thing. Whenever you're struggling and you're playing off, and your offensive game is struggling, I think when you focus on defense and you focus on playing a great game, it boosts your confidence up to a point where it's like, okay, now I can start scoring.
It'll turn into offense.
Like you
Exactly.
don't understand. Last game, we versed Royal Blue. We were up 20 points. Blue went on a 20-0 run.
Wow.
We went into the half. We went to the half down 5, but we were up 20 points that whole half.
That's great.
We went down 5. We changed the defense. We played a box one.
That's a big thing.
On Natan, and we went on a crazy one and ended up winning the game.
That's crazy.
Defense wins games.
Talking about Natan, we're going to go into our power rankings. But before we do that, we're going to talk about the player of the week. Player of the week, Nathan Yochananov. He lost last night to you, but 44 points. The guy took over.
Nate the Great.
Nate the Great. I mean, he's pretty much unguardable. I mean, I was speaking to Ben about this, and he said he scored like 30 points in the half, and then we switched in the second half to a box one. He only scored 12. And I'm like, only scored 12? That's pretty good.
It's unheard of.
But for a guy like Yochananov, 12 points in the second half is considered good defense. That's how good he is.
Right.
People have to realize that. Like, you did a good job holding him to 12, which is absurd. But that's just how good he is. You can't stop him. He's huge, and he can shoot, and he can drive. You know, he's like a 7'2" Durant. I mean,
but there's a question I have though on not knocking his game at all. But let's take for example SGA, right? So let's call his talent. What does he have talent? Yeah, he's an amazing talent. You know, he could shoot. He could has amazing handles. But his bread and butter is free throws. That's his bread and butter, right? They call him the merchant, right? He's a merchant. But the question is that real talent? Is that real basketball, or is that just abusing the system? You know, some people have ref favorites, let's say, right? They know how to go ooh this that, throw up a leg, cry, and get a whistle. You know, so the question is, you know, not to knock Nathan or anything, but he gets a lot of calls. He does get a lot of calls.
Yes.
He goes to the line a lot. The question is that called talent when someone can just drive in, throw his body around, go and then get a
say yes. I will say yes, and I'll say why. Ben Arambaya this week, 30 free throws.
Yeah, he went to the line 15 times.
No, 30.
30 attempts.
30 attempps.
So two every
15
times at the line. Yeah,
he took 30 free throws and he made 22. Now, if you watch his game, the guy can ball, and the question becomes, okay, if you're fouling a guy, stop fouling, right? It's not that hard. Just stop fouling. Play a little off him. Right. And the reason why teams aren't doing that is because if you do that, he'll score.
Right.
If you play off of Yochananov, I guarantee you he's scoring the layup.
Really?
Yeah, he's too tall.
I disagree with that.
A clean look, I think he's scoring.
I think that when you drive in with so much force, it's very hard to calculate how much pressure to put on the ball to get it in nicely. You know?
Yochananov has actually a very good
touch.
When he takes his second step, he usually slows down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you realize that.
Right.
Luka Doncic does that a lot.
Right.
So it's all about positioning and making sure he doesn't get to a clean second step. Because once he gets there, it's either in or a foul.
I think if he wouldn't get fouled, I think he would overcompensate.
I have a question.
You'd have to play a little off. I mean, you could try that,
right?
But it's hard to do that.
Right.
I have a question. Should Natan have won MVP last season?
No. I'll say this, and I'll say this again. I said this last year. His team started off really well, and they kind of plateaued, and they kind of went away. In the playoffs, they woke up. And I called that his whole team. And they woke up. I remember in the playoffs, Mike Conchorov was having a crazy game early on.
I saw.
Right.
His team stepped up. Eli Lishayev stepped up. The problem when you have a superstar of Yochananov's caliber is that the rest of the team kind of sits back and says, bail us out.
They start stepping pina coladas.
Like, yeah, like, yo, we got this superstar. Like, why should I shoot when he could shoot? Like,
right.
I think the next game, Yochananov needs to sit. Maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes.
Let them learn.
And not because of Yochananov. He's not a ball hog. He is a great dominant. He's not ball hogging. He's taking the shots that he's meant to take.
Right.
And last night his team took shots. They just weren't. They weren't feeling it.
Second half, his team took a lot of shots. They
weren't feeling it.
Weren't
And sometimes when you feel like you're this big, because you're just playing next to someone this big,
right?
You need to kind of put that guy to the side and enable the team to say, hey, you know what? And I think, by the way, the first game that Gabby wasn't there last year for our team,
yes,
I think was one of the big reasons why I went 4-0. Not because Gabby was the problem. Gabby was amazing. But it enabled the team to wake up and realize our true potential as players also, next man up. And people realize their potential like that. And I think that certain teams, and by the way, we're going to get to this in the rankings. You know what? We'll save it for the rankings. I will say something about...
One more thing you said, realizing your potential. That's a big thing we always speak about, is can a team become the best version of themselves? And that's the ties into chemistry. That ties into playing your subs. You don't know what your team really could be without playing your subs. It also ties into realizing that we don't have to be a flashy team or a show-offy team or blow out people. Just finding and trial and error, like he said, his defense wasn't working. He switched up. He was. Some people said, no, we have to make this work. We have to be in this box. We have to play 3-2, play 2-3. No, let's play man. Let's play box one. Be willing to be open-minded. You know,
see, that's where chemistry needs to come in.
Right.
Yeah,
But more than that, one more thing is in community-wise also. Like going back to that, I wanted to mention this before. That's why I mention it now. That with parties or with events or the way we carry ourselves, the way we dress, the way we talk, we all sometimes can get into a one-track mind. Everybody has to do this type of party. Everybody has to drive this type of car. Everybody has to wear this kind of watch. Everybody has to wear this kind of brand, you know? And being open-minded to the fact that maybe we don't. Maybe we could just be happy. And if you make a nice, classy, regular party, people will come and enjoy it also. And it's the content. A lot of times, it's one pitfall I see. People focus too much on the things, and then there's no real content. There's no real meaning behind everything. We made a bar mitzvah. There was a lot of da-da-da. But did the kid learn what it means to be a man? Did we speak about holiness? Did we speak about mitzvot and olam haba? Not really. So main thing is to reach your potential. There's a lot to hash out. There's a lot of content to bring on your team. If you don't play your subs and you don't focus on that, you'll just focus on the one-track mind, flashy, threes, step backs, and when playoff comes, we'll see who you really are.
And with that, we're going to go into the rankings. Before we get into the rankings, guys, we have play of the week going to none other than Mr. 30 free throws, Ben Arambayev.
Wow.
Nasty crossover, double cross, Euro hop step, and then finishing over the big and found Abe Kandachorov. We found him.
He got a body.
I mean, we found him in the wrong way, but at least he's here. At least he's back. He did win, so we'll give him his flowers. But shout out to Ben Arambayev. This guy is
I like
next
how he
level.
gathers. He has nice gathers.
He has, and also he has a good drive. He has a good slow second step, which is especially if he changes direction. It's like, how do you guard that?
Right.
You know. So again, the 30 free throws. Honestly, I was watching the game. I think he should have had more. I think he should have had more.
We beat them. I think it was our second or third game.
So he didn't play.
He did play.
Oh, that was the first game back.
He
That was the
with
first
one
game back.
ankle.
But
That
he had,
was one ankle, yeah.
He had 29 points. Come
No,
on,
but he was still on one ankle.
Stop it.
He was on one
I
ankle.
mean, maybe it's his first game, and means he
he was not. You saw it. He was hurt.
You think he's the hype that everybody made him?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
he is.
think that he needs to maybe him or his team, you got to play 5-on-5 ball.
Right.
If your attitude is, hey, I'm going to cook them with 40, but take the ball away from his teammates, they need, he has a lot of young guys. Yoni Zahurov,
Yes.
I think he's a very good player. I think
Yeah.
he's much better than how he's playing. Yaron Baruchov is a very good player. But these guys are young, and they're not the star. They need someone to trust them, to give them the ball when they're open. They will score.
Set them up.
So I think that they need to kind of incorporate the team as a whole, and they're going to be unstoppable. That's what I see. I see a Brunson, I see a Cat and Johnny Shimonov, and then I want to see OG Bridges hitting those threes. Dante DiVincenzo. If you don't have that, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
But they have that.
Right.
Yaron Baruchov is a great shooter. So I think they're going to go very far. And with that, we're going to go to the power rankings. So we have at number 16. Back at number 16, we have light green.
My boy, Coach Avi.
Coach Avi, where are you at?
I mean, listen, I love Coach Avi, right? He had a great scoring game. They lost to Gray, but Coach Avi, where are you at, bro? Because with down by 2 with a minute left in the game, they fouled 3 times, 3 separate times. What are you doing? There's a shot clock. Did we just forget basketball over here or something?
He had the last shot too.
They were down by 3 at that point because they kept fouling and they kept scoring their free throws, and then Shlomi kept hitting these open layups, which is great. But okay, did we forget about basketball? What's going on over here? Where's the coach? That's what I want to know. So, coach, you're listening to this. Maybe study some tape, study some film. I'm just trying to figure this out because it just seems like coach forgot his board and just decided to coach in the chat.
But I feel like this season he is trusting his teammates a little more.
He's playing great as a teammate.
Yes.
He is.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about as a player. I'm talking about as a coach.
Yeah.
Down by 2 with a minute left, you don't foul. What are you doing?
Your name is Coach.
And they fouled 3 times within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
3 separate times.
Unacceptable.
I was looking around the gym to see if I can call someone to yell at them to stop fouling. And I think they gave up the game. They could have had that. They outplayed Gray,
Yeah.
which we'll get to in a second. But they did have a good game. They're at 16 because honestly,
What's their record?
they're 1-4. They choked at the end, and honestly, Pink didn't play. So I'm still having Pink at
Zach, let me
At
ask you a
15.
question.
Pink hasn't played in the middle.
Let me ask you a question. If a
They-
person,
they're 1-2.
for this
Yeah.
for this lower half of the rankings, a person hears he's 14th, he's in 15th, he's 16th place. We played 5 games. Some teams play 3, some teams play 4. Should people think, oh, this is set in stone? That's it. This is the way our season's gonna be.
No, not at all. No. First of all, no. Last year, Teal was 1-4.
Yeah.
Right.
They were last place.
They came on the podcast, the whole team, and they were saying their family members gave up on the team.
Ha.
You know what I'm saying? We were 1-4. We won last night. Okay, we're 2-4. I'm saying we have a long way
But
to
you'll
go.
go
My
finals
team is
again.
4-1. I'm
Hopefully.
still worried. I'm not happy.
All
2 years ago, I was with Orange. We were 0-3. And back to this talent conversation, I drafted a team purely on talent. Chemistry everyone was like, yo, you need 3 basketballs. We started off 0-3. We had a real man-to-man talk, and we decided we're just going to give up the ball and let other people score. And we went on a crazy run, and had it not been for injuries, I still believe we would have won it all.
Wow.
Daniel Gadayev, a big piece for us, went out with
Injured.
with the bad knee injury out for the season. And then Gabby Yakubov in the playoff game also came very late. He was off his nose, whatever.
He was sick.
He was sick.
At
So
the
we were
end,
missing
too, yeah.
2 key starters, our best player and another big man, and they cooked us. So I still think we would have won it all, but whatever, that's up for discussion. But the bottom line is, if you're 1-3, 1-4, 1-2, 2-4, whatever it is,
What's the message?
there's 12 out of 16 teams that make the playoffs. Sometimes losing in the beginning it gives you the ability to kind of look in the mirror and say, what do we need to fix? If you fix that early on, then the rest of the season you're playing high level
A
basketball.
blessing.
But if you're winning games in the beginning and you're not fixing those things, and then you start realizing that towards the end of the season, that might be a little too late.
Right.
So yeah, you'll make the playoffs, but you'll lose the first game of the playoffs.
First round exit.
So every single team here has
Potential.
a very good chance to make the playoffs. I mean, we were 1-4 last night. Before last night, we were at 16. I looked at the standings. I'm like, we won the game. We jumped to number 12 now. So we're already in the playoff spot. Just
Right.
one game.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's 10 games left.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. At number 15, we have Pink. They didn't play in a long time. So I'm not even going to talk about them because you guys got to show up to the court. At number 14, we got Orange. Again, guys, do not attack me. I mean, you will attack me. You will drive me nuts. That's become synonymous with the league that I say a ranking and everyone just goes crazy. I put myself at 16. I thought I got heat off and people complained. I put myself at 1. People complain. So I don't know what this is. You know, they say the Jews love to complain. So I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on. But
No one is
Ben,
happy.
you put us at 14. What do you think?
Yes. You guys won last night. You guys. I think you guys were down, right?
Yes.
You guys were down second half. I was at that game, and your team just woke up. Patia woke up. Jay Shao hit
Jay Shao,
2 threes.
yeah.
2
He had
back-to-back
6
threes.
threes last night.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even know that.
Yishal had 6 threes.
These guys
last
could
night.
explode.
Red is a sick team, and the fact that you guys were down, you guys never gave up, chemistry, and you guys aren't a 16th place team. You guys,
I agree with that, but it just we need to figure out the chemistry. I wasn't there last night.
Yeah,
Ron Brown
that's
wasn't there
something
last night. It was a
you-
big deal.
yeah,
Tom had a good game finally. He's getting back from the back.
your team
injury.
is getting there. It's getting there.
Well, I mean, I hope so. Let's see. At number 13, we have Gold. At number 12, we have Maroon. Now, why did I say that fast? Because they played each other, and I think they're pretty interchangeable. I will say that Gold, again, I've been saying this the entire season. Gold is an amazing team. Daniel Shuvaev had 15 points in a row
Yeah.
without missing a shot.
Wow.
I was watching the game. They went up 44-34. I go off my phone for a couple of minutes. I come back. The score's 48-44. I'm like, did Maroon just go on a 15-0 run? What's going on over here?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And Maroon just dominated. And, you know, I love Moshe Yitzchakov. He's a good-looking guy. He's a skinny guy. When he plays against the rabbi, there's going to be an issue. You know, someone's going to be eating someone for lunch.
Right.
I saw it. And especially at the end of the game, you guys were up by like 2-3 points, and they fouled. There were like 3 times where you got the offensive rebound on a
Right.
free throw.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
and by the way, I want to say this, guys. If Yochananov didn't drop 44 last night, the rabbi was going to be player of the week.
Oh, thank you. Thank
So
you.
we will give you second place. You bowled. You had a lot of offensive rebounds, a lot of clean layups. Your shooting percentage was very high.
Thank God.
So
We learned good that day. It's the year of the big men, guys. I'm telling you, the big men, if they wake up and take over the league, there's not a lot of teams don't have big men. If you guys have a big man, you use the mismatch.
A lot
You use
of
the
big men
advantage.
this season were picked as tier 2s.
Yeah.
Most of them.
You know why?
Abe was a tier 2.
You know why? Every single
picked as
big
two.
man who was picked in round 2 and 3, with the exception of the high twos, meaning Tom and Eric Matayev and Johnny Shimonov. We'll get. I mean, I'm talking about like bottom 2, top 3. Those were all reaches,
Yeah.
and the reason why was because after that there was no big man.
Right.
Like there were. That's it. That's it.
It's a drought.
I mean, you guys got lucky. You got your brother.
Talk about that later.
Freak thing. Yeah.
You know, but the bottom line is you Maroon, you guys dominated the glass.
Yes.
I think that it's interchangeable because at the end of the day, it's all based on matchups, right? So if you're gonna play a team with a big man, I think you're gonna have a little more of a struggle than you had against Gold. And if I think Gold plays a team without a big man, they're gonna do much better than they did against you guys. So I think it's matchups. I like the way you guys are playing. I think you guys can. They're a dangerous team. You guys are a dangerous team.
One thing I want to add of Maroon, I think we got to do the subs properly, and you get like in hockey, they have lines. You know, nobody gets tired. We're a little bit of older guys. You know.
Yeah, you guys
When
don't have to rotate.
When we get a 9:30 game, we're like complaining. We're like, oh no, it's past the. It's gonna come home at 11
He's
o'clock.
right. It's
we're
good.
tired.
It's good to get some fresh feet.
Right.
It's very
But yeah, when we rotate well and then our defense stays high and our rebounding stays high, we do.
Well, I mean, the good thing is you don't have a 6-man.
Right.
You have 6 starters.
Exactly.
So
I would say
that's a good thing.
even 7. I would say even 7. All our players are spread out nicely.
At number 11, we're gonna stick with Gray again.
Eliran.
Gray is 3-1. Okay, they beat us. We were missing. I forgot who. Paltiel, I think Paltiel was out. Me and Tom were hurt. They played a good game, but Sam Barkov went off for 30 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lights out.
I have not seen that since. He's a good player, but I have not seen that since.
He didn't do that last season for Light Green.
He's a good player. He had good games. He's a good 10 to 15 point guy. He's a great shot, but he's a catch and shoot player.
Yeah.
So if a team isn't finding him open, it's just hard to score.
Right.
I will say Eliran and Eli Yakubo are playing well. They beat us. I don't want to say they beat Light Green because I don't think they won that game. You can ask Gray. They were kind of disappointed even though they won. So obviously it was a great feeling, but they did not close it out. They didn't play well. Light Green did not play well either, and Gray won even though they didn't play well. So it wasn't too much of a win. And then of course they beat Purple without Abe Kandahorov, which is
4-on-4.
a big. It was a 4-on-4.
Yeah. No.
I'm not sure if it was a 4-on-4. I don't think so.
Wasn't.
I think just Abe was still in Cancun from the loss last year. So I do think that Gray is a good team. I just want to see a little more before I bump them up.
Nah, great. Yeah, we versus Gray next. My team.
You're the next game, so that's a
Yeah.
big game. If
We're
Gray
gonna
can
win.
beat you guys, which I hope they don't because you're still kind of like orange.
They proved themselves.
Then I would give a nice big juice to Gray. At number 10, we got White. They didn't play this week. They had a big win last week. They are a serious squad. They have Leo. They have Gabi Khafizov,
We
Michael
lost,
Elishaev. That was the first game.
Yeah, first.
They have a good team. They lost a very close game to Teal. They're in it every game. They're a very good team.
Let me ask you a question about White for a minute. They have Leo, right? Leo is amazing. Shout out to Leo. Love that guy. Do you like his style of play? He's a very big guy, but he settles for a lot of threes. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't like
I
that.
don't like that. Yeah.
Yeah. On your
I'll
team,
say this.
If you would see that on your team, what would you say?
No, it's not because he doesn't have a 3-point shot. He can shoot the 3.
He could attack better.
The problem, what I see in Leo is he's a volume 3-point shooter, meaning he does well usually when he has a lot of threes. And I see a guy who's a force when he drives in,
Yeah.
like an absolute force. So
He's
if you're
scary.
if you're open and taking a 3, that's fine. But if you're like taking fadeaway threes in a guy's face, I just don't think that's the smartest shot. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like you can just drive in
Use your
and
body.
impose your will on players and get them in foul trouble. When guys have to realize this, it's very important. Like last night, we set the tone against Red. We said we're attacking Mike Yunatanov early, we're giving the ball to Tom, and we're getting them in foul trouble. Because if Mike Yunatanov is in foul trouble, the offense will open up because he's not going to be contesting shots. So you don't look to draw fouls at the end of the games. You look to draw fouls at the beginning of games. That will open up your offense. So I think that's something that Leo needs to be doing, driving in early, getting the team in foul trouble, and now they're playing soft. And that's, I think, going to help them out a lot.
Something that I say, I think White should have kept their team the way it was originally.
Really? I like to trade.
I
I like to trade. I like to trade a lot.
Ozzy and Coach Avi with Leo. I like that.
No, I think
they would have went
been
farther.
voted.
If
I
they
think
kept the team.
I like how Ozzy and Coach get to lead their team now, and I like how, they got a lot of value back. Mike Ilishayev is a great player. Ronan Malakov is a great player.
Oh yeah, they
Johnny
are.
Yakimov. They got a lot of.
yeah, they got
I like to trade. I think talent wise, I think White gave up a little too much, but overall for the team winning, I think that
No,
it was better.
Light Green gave him more. 3 for 2.
No, it was 3 for 3.
Oh yeah,
But I'm
it was
saying
a 2-7.
talent wise, Coach and Ozzy are serious bowlers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I will say that. At number 9, we have Yellow.
They're coming up.
I picked them up one spot. They lost to Purple. The team didn't play well. Better and Baev was playing well, but the team was not playing well.
Where
And
was
of course,
the sidekick ninja?
You know what it is? Abe got to wake up.
well, I mean, Abe won.
It doesn't matter. They still gotta wake up.
I think, again, I just see Yellow. I just see an over-reliance on Ben and Baev. And I'm not blaming that on Ben, but at the same time, they have to kind of wake up and say, hey, listen, we all have. You look at the Pacers last night.
Yeah.
They're in the finals. They won their first game. Teams are not realizing this. You have to get your team involved. You need your team involved. When there's a smile, you hit your 3. When you're grumpy, you're not hitting your 3.
Right.
I don't care what the team needs to be involved.
Right.
So again, like I said earlier, talent is the most important thing. But if you don't water the talent, there is no talent.
Yeah.
So teams have to realize that. And I see Yellow, and I see a team that, besides for Ben, is talented. It's hard to see it now because they're not getting their touches and they don't feel that confidence. But once they do, I think Yellow's a top 5 team.
You don't want Ben to become a Yochanan 2.0.
I don't. I think that in the playoffs he can do that.
Right.
I think to close out games he should.
Right.
But I think right now you're building towards a goal. Right?
Yeah.
You're building towards the finals. Right now it's not about winning. Winning is for playoffs, yes. But right now it's for playing at a high level. That should be your most important goal, not to win.
Right.
Because if you're winning not at a high level, it's not going to be sustainable in the playoffs.
I met.
At number 8, we're gonna go with the Red.
Big loss.
Big loss last time.
Huge loss.
I'm happy today. I haven't been really happy this season, but today I'm happy. Red loss. Red loss.
Where was Mike Drive?
You know what it was?
Mike Drive had 25 points. Where was two-time? I didn't see two-time last night.
Right.
Let me tell you
I
something.
mean, he had 2 points.
Red lacked, and I want to say lacked in chemistry yesterday. Lacked in chemistry.
You think so? I think they moved the ball pretty well.
Bro. They need to set Michael Drive more off-ball picks. He is the offense.
Yeah.
He's the offense.
I mean, he had 25 points last night.
He could get more. Alex
we
was
did
off.
we did a good job. Alex had an okay game. I think that it was just 3 points. It was 3-point shots. Shooting. You need to have an inside presence.
No defense. You guys also stole the ball a lot.
And Danny Supov, he had 2 points.
They had
2 points last
Yes.
night.
Wow.
2-time. I mean, he was busy thinking about his 2-time. So, I mean, I don't know what happened there.
Their center, what's his name?
Mike, he had a solid game.
He's stepping up this season.
He had a lot of outside shots.
Yeah,
There needs to be an inside presence.
inside presence.
Daniel is very good at finding someone under the hoop
Right.
against the zone.
Right.
Someone needs to play baseball.
I didn't see that last night.
He dissects and then just drops.
Exactly. He has that patience. He has vision.
They need
I
to
didn't see it
develop
last
their
night.
offense.
At number 7, we have Blue. We've spoken a lot about Blue.
Yeah.
I mean, Yochanan had 44 points last night. The team scored 60. That says it all.
Right.
And this year, I had them very high because I saw a team that had immense talent outside of Yochanan.
More pieces.
Yeah,
I mean, these guys are talented. Like, they have a lot. There's a lot. Like, I mean, if you take the 5 guys outside Yochanan, they averaged, I think, last year cumulatively like 40 points a game. So if he's scoring 40, the team should be having 80.
But they were
Probably
off.
more than 40.
They were off.
they had an off night. They did. They had an off night.
People don't like when I say that, so I'm happy you guys said that. because
I'll
when I
it.
say that,
I'll
it's
say
like,
it. I'll
oh,
say
you know what I mean?
They had an off night.
They had an off night.
They had. I agree. I mean, listen, they played a good team. Also, I like your team. I like. We'll get to your team later. At number, again, I want to say this again about Blue. Yochananov needs to sit, not for the whole game, but for times he needs to sit for the team to develop
Other
offensive
players.
game plan. When people feel involved offensively, they will hustle more on defense and get more steals.
Absolutely right. I agree.
So I think that my advice to them, it's early in the season. It's not a big deal if you lose a game. Try it out. See where your team goes with that. At number 6, we're going to go with Black. They didn't play this week. They beat us last time, close game. They didn't play again. Teams are just not playing. I don't know what's going on over here. This rescheduling, is just getting out of hand.
One more thing I want to mention about Black. I remember last year there was like this thing like, oh, this
Playing
scary
Black.
Black team is coming.
No, they're not like that this year.
They're not like this year.
Like that.
No.
Some people say they missed that. Some people said they like that.
They're not like that.
every in some ways they were painted the villain. It's not their fault, but every league has heroes, has villains. It makes it interesting.
When we beat Black last season, we felt like we won the final. we beat the best team in the league.
You don't understand. Beating Jason last season was just like
It wasn't just that team didn't lose a game in regulation.
Yeah.
beating Abe.
We beat
also.
them, and everyone was talking trash.
Yeah,
I
they
remember
all talk trash.
my friends were calling me like for the game, like, "Yo, honestly, good luck, but I'm not even gonna win." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, we saw Jason beforehand, and we're like, yo, what do you guys think?" It's like, I'm looking at the finals already.
You know what I'm saying? It was such a close game.
Wow.
I blew that layup at the end. Remember?
I remember that.
I
Thank God we
blew that
won.
layup.
Thank God we won.
Then
Listen,
Jason made an and one on the corner. Where he got fouled.
well, it wasn't a foul, but whatever. We'll
Yeah.
leave it at that.
That was
At
a
the end of the day,
crazy
we won
game.
the game. God wanted us
Losing
to
to
win.
Teal by a buzzer.
It was such a big loss for Black that Abe has been in Cancun, or he came back for a poster from Arambayev, but he's finally back. Anyways, at number 5, we got Navy. Again, they didn't play this week. It's just so many teams not playing. I don't know what's going on. I mean, the truth is we had Shavuos.
Yeah.
So we only had 2 nights.
It's
Oh,
short
yeah,
week.
Yeah.
We had a short week, but Navy's at number 5.
It's hard to reschedule also this year, especially.
They made it a little
I mean,
easier.
people actually, it's
More 4-on-4s.
It's very easy to move a game forward to an undisclosed date, and
Yeah.
that's what everyone's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just,
that's
I don't know. I think we're gonna have a lot of games the last 2 weeks of the season,
Yeah.
a lot. At number 4, we have Purple. Ari's not here, honestly. Last week, out of respect to him, he said, "Listen, we barely played. You can't put us high." I said, "Fine, no problem." They played yellow. They played a dominant game. Eliran only shy of 20 points.
Wow.
Wow.
And
Stepped up.
he stepped up. He's getting a lot of looks around the rim that are open, and he's very good at finishing with that
Yes.
floater.
Yes.
Very good, very underrated. But they run. They play Adam Arambayev. These guys, they run. They
Run
get a
and gun.
steal and they run. I think he learned a lot from Teal last year. He traded Samecha for Adam Arambayev for that reason.
I mean, yeah.
And of course, Ariel he had a nasty block.
Ariel is
Baller.
He's a baller.
That guy is so
He
good.
knows how to dribble. He's very good.
I think Purple's a good team. They're playing very well together.
What's the room for improvement on that team?
That's why we said the first
I-
5 games don't matter.
I don't see a need for improvement. They remind me of Red last year.
Mhm.
Playing at a high level,
Red
talent is a little bit lacking. That's
Mhm.
what I see in Purple. I think if they play, let's say, Yellow and Yellow was on, they're not winning that game.
Oh, okay.
I think Yellow has more dominance. Ariel Israelov is carrying that team single handed.
Yeah.
yeah.
If he's not playing well, no one's going to be playing well on that team because they're getting a lot of easy looks from him. He has some of the most ridiculous passes.
What does he average?
He's averaging like 30 points a game,
Wow.
and he's not a ball hog. The guy has the most ridiculous passes.
Yeah.
So
Natural.
he's a true point guard.
I have a PSA quickly. I don't. Nobody in the league should be, throwing heat to any other player and saying, "Play me 1-on-1, 5K, 10K, 100K." Like, stop with this nonsense. Like,
It's such nonsense. We've never had a one-on-one for money.
yeah,
Like,
this is not middle school, right?
we've never had any of this stuff. So
playing
whatever.
for your gushers or whatever. You're like, enough with that.
At number 3, we're gonna go with light blue, 1 and 2. We haven't seen them. I have them high because when we have seen them at full strength,
They're a
they
nasty
blew out
team.
Black, and then they should have beat Navy, and they choked. So I don't know where to put them. I don't know where they are. Nobody knows them. They're missing. We gotta. I don't know.
Mystery.
It's a mystery.
Nate is
Yeah.
a defensive beast when it comes to.
They're a good team.
They're a good
we
team,
want to
yeah.
see them. Like, what are we
Eli
paying for?
Matatov at the 3.
Shout out to Eli Matatov. He
Yeah.
looks super buff this season.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
came
he was
to
on
play.
the
He didn't
podcast.
play last season.
He took a year off.
Yeah, he took a season off.
He came back
came-
like
Yeah.
He's a good player. Yeah. At number 2, we got Green. Big jump for
You know how we do.
the
How we
former
do.
teammates Ben and Gabby. Chef Gabby,
You kept Tom. I took Gabby.
what do you got to say?
I love my team. I love playing with Gabby. I love playing with Yosef, also my brother, Johnny, Moses.
But what is it? All these guys need the basketball. How do you guys share it? How do you guys do it?
No.
This
You got to
is-
talk
this
about
is-
Yosef
thi-
because I know what he's doing.
This
Talk
is
about
what
Yosef.
this is what I'm talking about. Chemistry.
Okay.
It plays a big role.
Yosef doesn't say, "Give me the ball, get out of the way."
Why did we lose to White first game?
Why?
Because we did not pass the ball.
Uh-huh.
We did not pass the ball. We did not play as a
So
team.
now what is it?
Who was Yosef first game? It was all Gabby first.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
What are you gonna say about Yosef this year?
Yosef is having. Yosef had a better season last season than what
In
he's
points
having now,
wise.
in points wise. But he's doing the little things.
You're saying he's being a leader now.
He's being, of
He's
course,
being a leader. He's being off-ball leader. He's
Mhm.
letting
being,
other players
he's being
shine.
a paint
Wow.
beast in the paint. You know how many rebounds he's
That's a
getting?
big maturity.
He's averaging a double every game with rebounds.
Wow.
He blocks. At the end he made a big block. I don't know if you guys saw it. If you guys watched towards the end of the game,
He's
made
putting a lot of
huge
effort
block.
into everything else.
Yeah,
That's a smart way to go because you know what happens in the playoff times? They need a bucket.
he trusts Gabby.
He can do it.
Yeah,
He can turn it on whenever he wants.
Right.
I think it's so smart for the stars to trust the other guys earlier on.
also Ussa, man, he's a defensive beast. He
hustler.
had like 6 steals last night.
I think he's a
I
candidate for
took
defensive player of the year.
I took Ussa tier 4.
Yeah.
That was a steal. I'm sorry.
He's a
not
great
tier
player. Asa is a great defender.
Yeah.
I think that he there's not a lot of noise about him as a defensive player because I saw a quote from OG Anunoby. People are looking at the blocks and the steals. The main thing is to deny the guy the ball in the first place.
Right.
Don't allow him to drive, and then you won't have to worry about a block.
We were playing Teal on a back-to-back, and the first game before Teal, Ussa got hurt, and he didn't know if he wanted to play, but he still came. And we were losing. We were down like 10 to 15 points. Ussa came in the game, and we
Wow.
changed.
Yeah, I
King.
think he's a strong candidate for defensive player of the year.
Zach, you see Green staying where they are?
I listen. I think the glue that brought it all together is Ben's brother.
Really?
Because he's aggressive, he's strong, he
Shout out
plays
to Jacob.
inside. What's his name? Jacob?
Jacob, yeah.
Jacob.
Yaakov.
Okay, so Jacob Yaakov Koyenov. He's bowling at a high level, and you need that inside presence sometimes. You need that defensive presence. You need a guy to rebound. He is there, so he is. I think the glue.
The X factor.
Exactly, because you had it was Yosef, Gabby, and then you look at the rest of the team, and it's like defensive presence, not scorers, right?
Yeah.
Ben, Asa, Aronov, who got injured. I hope he has a full shlema. So you just see a defensive team, and it's just like, okay, you know what? We'll just watch Gabby and Yosef and let the other guys burn us. But now they have another guy who can score, and of course Ben can score and Asa can score. So now it just changes the whole dynamic, and now you have a team that can really play well together. So I again, big shout out to Yosef because he's taking a back seat and he's enabling the team to play as a team, and I like that. I like that about them. At number 1, we have Teal. They also didn't play this week. The reason why I kept Teal at 1 is because I don't think Green is at number 1 yet. They're almost there. I think if
I want to be. Don't worry.
if they have a dominant game against Gray, I think then we're talking about that. But at the moment, I still think that Teal is the team to beat. Of course, they have the chemistry, they have talent. They won last year, so I have Teal at number 1.
Would you say the last year's dominant team was less beatable than Teal is? You think Teal is more beatable than any champ team that we had?
Yeah.
I think it's there for everybody for the taking, you know?
Teal won on a run.
Huge run.
In the finals, they didn't have an amazing game.
We lost.
They're
by a
big.
buzzer.
We lost, on a buzzer. I should have hit the free throw. I was playing injured the whole second half. They had Alex Katanov and Nate Ilibayev didn't miss their shots in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
The guards didn't do much.
Right.
So I think that their dominance was exposed, and teams are playing them now like that, and now they're not blowing teams out. Every game's a close game.
I love the way Teal plays. Shout out to Natan
They're amazing.
He knows how to carry that team. Like not like shooting wise, but chemistry wise. He knows.
But I think the run and gun is not over, but people are realizing that, and they know to worry about it. So it's not going to be a big issue. You're gonna have to play your bench. In the finals last year, Light Blue was hanging in there, and then with like 4 minutes left in the game, they reached a point where there was no guys left in the tank, and they just ran on.
You don't understand. We lost to them in the finals when we beat them with Gabby. Me and Gabby was just like, we got a revenge. You know?
But they beat. They beat us. We didn't really play with our team, so we wish we could play them. Yeah.
So you're saying this year the half court offense is going to strive?
They don't have the best half court offense. That's why I'm saying they're very beatable.
Right.
They don't. So as long as you, I mean, listen. You look at the Pacers; they're in the finals. I don't know how. I don't know how they won last night.
Right.
Halliburton.
I don't know. I
Crazy.
don't know. I think the NBA needs a wake up call because it's pathetic. Honestly,
That's
I hate
on his
that team.
head.
You know, Halliburton had a buzzer or a game winner like every game of the series.
Wow.
Not every game of the series, like every team. he played in the
I don't
series.
get it.
Like,
I mean, listen.
Cavs-
I think the Knicks game. I personally think the Knicks winning the series if they didn't lose game one.
Yeah.
And you just see it.
It would've went to
And
game 7.
God, took the ball 30 feet in the air and just put it in the hoop. You don't see that happening.
Yeah,
That
That
shot shouldn't have won it.
I was there.
Knicks should have won the series. You were there at the game.
Yeah, that was.
Gosh, I was watching it. I was like,
I was-
This doesn't make
Guys, you
sense.
still have to say Kaddish for 12 months. Don't forget.
Whatever it is.
You don't understand? There was a minute left. I'm like, okay, let's go. You know, I didn't want to get into the crowd,
Right.
and I'm like, what the? Like,
Yeah, we
what's
lost.
happening?
Yeah, we
I
lost.
don't know how that happened. Anyways, with that, Ari's not here, so I'll be the one to ask his famous 3 questions. MVP, top 3 favorites.
MVP, number 1 goes to Jason. I feel like even though he didn't play a lot, he still knows.
He's always a favorite.
Yeah. Number 2, Natan. Yohanano. I think he deserves his flowers. I feel like he personally got robbed last season. I think he should have won MVP. And number 3, I'm gonna go with Gabby.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I hear that, but I thought you would say Israelov also instead of Nate, but I hear that. Nate also is playing at a high level.
No, Nate is playing on a high level.
Nate's playing at a high, and Gabby also. Gabby
still has the most points in a game this season, 46.
Mishane knows, Mishane Mazal.
Yes.
Listen, last year he had a game with 48 points. People
Yeah.
forgetting Gabby last year. People will come over to me last year and say, "Hey, Gabby, your team is better without him."
No,
Such
no.
like,
That's
I would look at people like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
I love watching him though. When he brings his dancing shoes.
Gabby is a ball. He needs to. Gabby, you
needs
need
to
to dance a little more.
Yes.
Make the league
You
entertaining.
hear that, Gabby?
Your enemy's scoring the points. Do some dances and teach Ben how to dance too.
Yeah.
All right, top 3 candidates for Defensive Player of the Year.
Defensive Player of the Year. I'm putting Gabby Hafiz at 1. I'm putting us at 2, and I'm putting myself at 3.
Opa.
Wow, 2 guys in the
I
same
feel
team.
like last season no one really saw my defensive plays, but I think you could vouch. I deserve to be
definitely.
top 5.
Ben was our box guy.
I deserve to
When
be
we
top
played
5.
teams, man, Ben started. When we played, when
He's
teams,
the one
Yes.
on the box.
Yeah, he's the one.
I helped.
He shut down Jason. He shut down
Wow.
Yochananov. This
Wow.
guy. Was
I shut
playing-
down Eitan. I want to say.
Yeah, we played them in the playoffs. Ben was killing him.
I
I mean,
shut down Eitan.
he's
Yochanan in the second half, I feel like I shut him down.
he's a great box one guy.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
long, he's lengthy. Maybe the speed you could burn him, but we had Tom waiting. So
I always got to put Gabby Hafiz at 1. He's
nasty.
nasty at defense.
He's
Yeah.
nasty.
That's his game. He's not an offensive player.
Who do you got? 3 teams to make the finals.
3 teams?
3 teams to make the finals.
Potentially.
I'm putting myself at 1. My team. I'm putting Black. And I think light blue.
Ooh.
Light blue. I love how Black's always in the conversation.
Yes.
You can never count them
You
out.
can never
Yeah,
count him out.
such an
Jason,
effect.
You can never count them out.
I think light blue, if they get it together, play their game,
Chemistry.
involve Nate more, and Eli Matata plays his 3-point game, I think they're